Hello, my name is Gunnar Olsen.
I'm Don Gavitte.
Ruth Gibian.
I'm Chris Wilheight.
My name is Sekai Edwards.
I'm a Da Vinci alumni and currently a junior in Grant High School, and I'm here to talk about my experience with core class. I'm also dyslexic. I've known that I'm dyslexic since 3rd grade. It has been something I've struggled with my entire life. When I went to Da Vinci, I found that core helps with my dyslexia. Having a teacher who knows who I am and knows that I'm dyslexic, it helps. Having that be the same teacher for 3 years, that helps. My teacher was Christy King. She got to know me over our time together, and she knew when I struggled and when I needed help. Even if I wasn't too keen on asking for it, she'd make sure that she helped me. Another great thing about core class is I had this great learning environment for not one class, but I had it for 3. One of these classes was language arts, a class I consistently struggled with because of my dyslexia. Having Christy there to help me out, it really helped. When I entered Da Vinci, I was a tall, lanky towhead who struggled in school. When freshman year of high school rolled around, I was still tall, lanky, and a towhead, but I killed the classes freshman year. And having that experience in core class, I brought those resources with me, and it really helped me out. So if you cut core class, just remember all those tall, lanky towheads with dyslexia that you're going to be hurting. Dyslexics don't learn the same as everybody else, and neither should Da Vinci students. Thank you very much.
I teach social studies at Grant High School, and I am a 2-time Da Vinci dad as well. So I'm here with that hat on more than anything else, but the two go together. I'm not going to argue for Da Vinci Core using data. Data concerning assessment, pedagogy, and methodology is notorious for its uncontrollable variables. And we can't even get into absolute truth. I teach philosophy. We'll be here all night if we start talking about absolute truth as a concept. But anyway, with that aside, John Dewey once said, "The truth is that which works." Da Vinci Middle School works. However it works, in many ways, the data points and spreadsheets can't capture. For example, Da Vinci students know that diversity is better than uniformity. Da Vinci students know that self-expression comes in many forms and that it's usually beautiful and often powerful. Da Vinci students often consider themselves just that, Da Vinci students, well after 8th grade promotion, something any school would be proud of. I felt that pride as a general here today, and I know Andrew did as well. I didn't know you guys were going to flip and have Lincoln first. I would have been late. No, I'm joking. But that ties in with what I want to say. When we take that off my seconds, when we truly look at the adolescent, not just data about adolescents, but the adolescent themselves, we see ourselves, warts and all. We also see the future. So I ask you guys this. I ask the board and Superintendent Smith this. What was your greatest, most pivotal educational moment in your life? Think about that, and also think, what was the moment in your life when you started feeling relatively comfortable in your own skin? And if that's not enough to think about the moment you realized that no one was exactly like you and that you had much to offer the world. That's what happens in Da Vinci Core. That's how we get Constitution teams. That's how we get gold medal awards at Grant High School and the Columbian Student Press Association. It starts with being comfortable in your own skin, and that starts with the core model. Let me just end with this. I ask you to consider reminding principals that these are the most important moments in a young person's life, and that they rarely, if ever, are fostered by a higher test score. They are fostered by communities, modeled by adults, and engaged by young people. They are fostered by such things as Da Vinci Core. They are precious. They are not in need of reform. And with that, let us please hear our plea to save Da Vinci Core, not as one school, but as a reminder of who we want to be as a city, more than a test score, more than a data entry point, more than we can ever imagine. Thank you.
If the purpose of the major structural changes proposed for Da Vinci Middle School are because of a need to elevate mathematics, let's consider why math matters. Math matters because, among other things, it teaches our students to learn and practice logical thinking, to be able to abstract and think ahead several steps, and to make decisions based on fact, not intuition. If this is what we want them to learn, let us lead by example. The proposed changes are not based on any of these principles. Rather, they are illogical, short-sighted, impulsive, and not in keeping with academic research. Please delay this decision and only take action that is well-researched and well-considered. CORE teaches skills in planning, organization, time management, and help-seeking, all of which are necessary for success in math. Current pedagogical thinking suggests a trend towards a core-type model. In middle school, because it is developmentally appropriate, in high school, because it decreases dropout rates, and in community colleges, including PCC, Lane, and Lynn Benton, because it increases math completion. I wish school administrators had to take an oath like doctors do. First, do no harm. Continuing with this plan, which goes against what current research says are best practices, is akin to academic malpractice. There is also a puzzling and troubling lack of inquiry into the math dilemma. If my car broke down, I'd be foolish to race to my mechanic demanding a new head gasket before running any diagnostics, but this is exactly what's happening at Da Vinci. If the proposed changes are based on test scores, then why aren't the glaring validity and reliability issues of those scores being addressed? The Oakes tests have a 30% margin of error, terrible from a reliability point of view. And considering Oakes tests a valid measure when there has already been a curriculum change is poor science as well. If test scores started to go down 3 years after stellar performance by our school for many years, then why isn't there a systematic analysis of what has changed in those years? A change of curriculum without a matching change of measure, introduction of block schedule, a new principal, perhaps with the many changes throughout the PPS system, a change in the Da Vinci applicant pool and therefore the demographic of the school? And if multiple changes continue to be implemented, there is no control, there is no way of knowing which factor is having an effect. Further, the results of this year's TEL survey for Da Vinci are disgraceful for a school formerly considered a jewel in the system and should sound a loud alarm because teaching and learning conditions are predictive of math achievement. Do the diagnostic before rebuilding the engine. Allow time for a team of parents, teachers, administrators, and students to give this problem the study it deserves. Thank you.
I understand the concern that folks have with the math test scores. If we truly have comparable data across many years and across the district and the state that shows a troubling trend, downward trend in math and science scores, then we should all be concerned. But what struck me was what seems like a very Cartesian sort of knee-jerk response to the problem by the administration. So many scientific fields have abandoned this mechanical view of nature, this Cartesian view of nature, where if there's a deficiency, you simply add more of what's deficient. But human beings are not machines. We're not machines. We have to be holistic and inclusive about our approach to solving the problems. So at the PTSA meeting, a friend of mine made a really great point, which I hope wasn't missed, when she said that her son's difficulty was with math was not going to be fixed with the 10 more minutes of math a day in class, but rather with the time in his core periods where he can learn better organizational skills. And that's just the thing, right? The current format is what works. It's what makes Da Vinci what it is. If something was inherently wrong with the current schedule structure, then Da Vinci would have had troubling math scores all along throughout its history. If there are real quantifiable problems that have recently surfaced, then let's work together to identify the cause. But the administration, in what seems like kind of a panic, because we only get these messages at the very end, has just jumped to this like simplistic conclusion that we need to cut time from core in order to make room for 10 minutes per day of math and science. So that's sort of like a leap of logic that's based on outdated assumptions. So I'm here, of course, joining with many others to ask the administration to keep the current schedule structure. It is what makes Da Vinci what it is, and it's what makes it successful. If the administration can use truly comparable data to exhibit a downward trend in math and science readiness, then it should take a more thoughtful and inclusive approach with a year-long process to propose and consider various options for Da Vinci with teachers and families of Da Vinci in a broad way.
I graduated from Da Vinci Arts Middle School 2 years ago. In that time, I had the same core class for all 3 years. I excelled in reading, writing, and science and all my standardized testing. But more importantly, I was able to make the transition from elementary school to middle school without losing the sense of community I had experienced for my entire education. I was pushed to work harder when I was in 6th grade with 8th graders, and when I was in 8th grade to continue to be an influence to the 6th graders in my class. However, I understand that this board likes data. My 8th grade year, I was surrounded by an incredibly talented group of students, but that data wasn't stored anywhere. Right along our test scores, there's no list of our accomplishments. Does your decision to follow standardized testing scores also show that in my graduating class, at only 16 years old, kids have gone on to do things such as Mikey Garcia, who's attending Juilliard summer program, or Jacob Broder, who's going to dance for the Dutch Royal Ballet at only 16 years old after studying with the Russian Kirov Ballet in Washington, D.C. Every year in core class, we studied, rehearsed, annotated, and performed monologues. And even though I've studied in theater, it was this academic learning and understanding that led me to being able to go to nationals for the August Wilson monologue competition and win a scholarship to study theater on Broadway this summer. However, when you open my file, all you will consider is the number from your precious, outdated, biased, and racially oppressive standardized tests. From the shaping of our creativity to our academic success, core class has not only been instrumental, but altogether imperative to the exemplary education that has come to be expected out of Da Vinci Arts Middle School. I beg of you that you consider that everything cannot be written down next to my name in 3 categories: almost meets, meets, and exceeds. Core class is best described by its own name, core. Please do not strip us of our core. I am not one of few, I am one of many, and so are my fellow artists and leaders. I urge you to push Mr. Locke to use wise judgment of what Da Vinci should be, and not with this new era of privatized, standardized thinking that is sweeping our nation and ruining our creativity, communities, and altogether our educational freedom. Thank you.